A massively busy week in Strongman with lots of announcements happening, so we're going to start it off with this year's RAW Invitational. So the RAW Invitational happening in Scotland this year, first time ever. RAW have announced the first 4 athletes, 2 for the men's show and 2 for the women's show, which is the first time they've ever had the strong women competing at the RAW Invitational. Exciting for them.
Yeah, obviously we know that this is the best payday in strongman, particularly in strong woman. So just being invited to this competition is a huge deal. And there are only 10 spots in each class.
Yeah, it's tough only having 10 spots because there's so many great athletes. We have seen, I know you particularly have seen kind of debates happening online and conversations that people are having who should be there, who shouldn't be there. Let's start with the first 4 athletes that have been invited. So on the men's side, we have Evan Singleton and Thomas Evans. Both of these regulars now at the Arnold's and RAW Invitational. Both of them have competed at the Arnold's this year and at the Invitational last year. Not a huge surprise to see them here.
Well, it's interesting the way that RAW work, because obviously Thomas came up through the old Arnold route, which actually doesn't technically even exist anymore. So he won the amateur Arnold's, qualified him for his first Arnold's where he placed 5th. He had a really good showing there. He did RAW last year. I think he was about 7th.
He's very consistent. He places sort of mid-table. He's a great athlete. I've got a lot of time for Thomas, but we don't see him in so many other competitions. No. And I think that sometimes makes people forget how good he is. And also, you know, people think... I've actually seen online that Pavlo Cordiaca has had no invitation whatsoever. And, you know, that's a guy that's won Europe. He's been in the final of World's Strongest Man multiple times now, does very well in competitions. So I can see why people kind of get upset that someone like Pavlo isn't getting invited. I think Evan Singleton is a surefire pick. You know, he's someone that the last few years is without question one of the top guys in the world.
And on the strong women's side, so far we've seen announced Hannah Lindsay and Melissa Peacock. Both of these, again, they're regulars on the Arnold scene. I strongly suspect the women's show is going to be pretty much what the Arnold's was. I don't know that, but I think that. I
think that's where the RAW will base their votes from, looking at what the women did at the Arnold's. There's some fantastic female athletes that are really on the rise. I'm particularly thinking Nicole Genrich. Yeah. She is phenomenal. Yes. She is one of the best women on the planet right now. And, you know, she came 3rd at World's Strongest Woman. She's kind of getting better all the time. And you want to see these athletes get their opportunities at the right time. So it is difficult, but this is the first time we're seeing the strong women at the RAW Invitational. It's going to be an amazing show, and I think we all need to support it as much as possible.
And we need to remember, there's never going to be a qualifying system for an invitational.
Well, it's an invitational. You can invite who you like. This is us debating on, you know, we follow the sport week in, week out. These 2 athletes, fantastic role models, great entertainers.
Yes, and 4 solid picks, I would say. So
look forward to seeing more invites soon. I'm sure we can kind of guess some of the names quite easily.
Yeah, I think the most obvious ones, we're definitely going to see Thor, we're going to see Mitch and Tom. I think we'll probably see Luke as well. It's up in Scotland. I think Alexei, previous winner. I think Martins will be invited. Interested to see if he chooses to do it, though.
It'll be really interesting to see if... It'll be really interesting to see if Martins does come back. But yeah, we know the big names that are going to be doing it. It's going to be interesting to see some of the women's names as well. I do feel it'll be very similar to the Arnold's. Giants Live have announced the events for the USA Strongman Championships. Now, we've known this is the Deadlift World Championships in Vegas. The first event is the Deadlift for Max, obviously. They've announced the full list of events, and we're going to have, starting with the Deadlift for Max, there will be a few athletes that just compete for the deadlift. Their points won't be included in the overall show. Then we have the Wrecking Ball hold coming to America. We've seen this a number of times now in the Giants Live shows. No longer a test of just grip. This is all over body annihilation. We're going to see the dumbbell press in America. I'm really excited for this one. They are bringing the car walk back. We haven't seen it for a while, and there's a certain Canadian I know that really wants a crack at this event. So, yeah, Mitch Hooper on the car walk. I think this could be something special.
Who is it? Kilishkovsky?
Kilishkovsky has the record. Before that, I had the record.
Yes,
so it's an event I care deeply about. Kilishkovsky is the current record holder.
It's an event I always enjoyed because you were good at it. So it was like a relax event for me.
I also think visually it's a cool event. Just as a
cool
fan
event,
watching, seeing someone pick up a car and run with it, it's kind of back to Fred Flintstone. It just visually looks cool and impressive. And then they will be finishing with the Atlas Stones.
If we quickly remind ourselves then of the athletes that have been announced for this show. Starting with the current World's Strongest Man, Tom Stoltman. We have last year's World's Strongest Man winner, Mitch Hooper. The 2020 champion, Alexei Novikov. Third at this year's World's Strongest Man, Evan Singleton. Representing the USA, we have Marcus Crowder. Coming in all the way from Australia, Eddie Williams. Back for the Deadlift World Championships, Austin Andrade. Luke Stoltman will be joining his younger brother in Vegas. Big Bobby Thompson, I know a lot of people have been excited to see what he can do with the Deadlift Championships. And in a similar vein, Trey Mitchell also. And finally, Matt Ragg, who has been looking monstrous on deadlift recently. And that's not including the 3 guest lifters just for the deadlift, who are Graham Hicks, Ivan Makarov and Rauno Heinle.
I was going to say, you can't leave those 3 off.
No, never, Lozzie.
Some big lifts been going on by them in the gym recently. We're excited to see what they can do when it comes to the Deadlift World Championships. But the full athlete lineup as well for the whole competition, very, very strong.
Yes.
Giants Live have also announced the athlete lineup for the World Open, which also includes the log lift World Championships.
Yes, it's getting confusing.
Very confusing. Giants Live's page is a bit confusing right now.
It actually is. I'm looking for information. I'm like, whoop, 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 whoop. But another great lineup we're going to see here.
So yeah, the lineup for this event, obvious big names that are doing almost every Giants Live this year, starting off with Mitch Hooper, Evan Singleton, Luke Stoltman is coming back for this one, Alexei Novikov also down for this one, as is Ian Bibby. Let's hope he gets to this show. An amazing log lifter, obviously we want to see him there. Ivers Schmaukstall is going to be competing in Birmingham. Kevin Ferris coming over. Andre Foytu, I'm excited to see him on the log again. He's been doing some crazy numbers in the gym. Be good to see what the young man can do in competition when it counts. He's got to be ready for a massive log this year.
He's so talented. What is he, like 23?
He's a baby.
Yeah.
Maxime Boudreau coming back over to the UK for the log lifting championships, as well as Americans Nathan Goldtree and Thomas Evans. This will be Thomas Evans' first Giants Live. Yeah. I am looking forward to seeing him in this. I said earlier in the video, we don't see him do too many competitions. So I'm excited to see Thomas coming over. You know, he had a great rookie year where he sort of got onto the scene. And now I want to see him competing in these shows.
It'd be really interesting to see him because this is a different type of show as well. It's faster paced.
And he's done very well on the log worlds the last few years. So it'd be interesting to see what he can do building up towards a max.
Absolutely. So competition results then. Last weekend was, I believe, the 8th instalment of the Strongman Champions League 2024 season, and it took place in Tartu, Estonia. And we were there, Lazo.
We were. We planned to go before we even knew this competition was happening, didn't we?
Very happy
And
coincidence.
it just happened to be the same weekend, so we got a chance to go and watch some Strongman.
Yes, which was lots and lots of fun. Unfortunately, no behind the scenes because there's so much music there. I couldn't hear myself think. It's like a giant party, isn't it? Strongman Champions.
It is indeed. We kind of just enjoyed it, didn't we? Went there, enjoyed it. Got to meet some new athletes. Really, really nice to meet some new up and coming athletes. Great performances. The show was really good. Enjoyed it. The events were interesting. Started off with a boat pool, which visually looks cool.
Yeah.
And I think most of the athletes agree, even the promoters agree, you get so many variables with a boat pool. You know, that the current suddenly changes. There was a bit of wind and rain and stuff like that. I think some athletes, starting point. So visually, yes, I like it. I don't really like it as a competition event, as a competitor.
No.
As someone watching it, it looks cool. Yeah. However, the rest of the competition was really good. Great events, great competition ran by Champions League and Irvin Toitz. He's the man that put it on. So congratulations to them. Do you want to go through the results?
So the competition was won by Adam Rushkowski. That's his second Strongman Champions League win this year.
He was looking really, really good.
Yeah, he looked great. In second place, very close up until the final event, was Kane Francis. Yeah. In third place, someone we hadn't met before, Petty Juhas, competing for Hungary. He looked solid.
Really, really nice guy. I had a nice long chat with Petty. Great athlete as well. Good to see him do well.
And then in fourth place was the ever tired Ivor Schmaxes, and he actually was very tired and not good tired for him, was he?
No, normally when he's tired he wins, but only
Yes.
fourth place tired in this contest.
Yes. And then in fifth place it was Evans Nana. So also last weekend we saw the Kaos Classic, which was a under 90 kilos men's competition and an under 64 kilo women's competition. Now this is run by Rhiannon Lovelace and Luke Davis, her partner, and they really are doing a great job bringing up the weight class athletes.
Absolutely, they're doing a fantastic job, and this was a brutally heavy competition.
Goodness me. So 210 kilo deadlift for reps for the under 64 women. There were 3 women on a max axle, under 64 kilos, with 103.5 kilos.
I can tell that your newfound training is really making you appreciate how heavy these weights are.
It's so heavy. Anywho, the results. The men's competition was won by CJ Cruz. We've spent some time with CJ before. Really cool guy. So nice to see him do well, yes. And the women's competition was won by Camilla Foganolo. I think she's from Australia. We met her in Australia, didn't we? Earlier last year. So you can watch this back. There is a live stream. It's pay-per-view, but the website address is on the screen now.
And finally, this weekend, we have the North American Championships, which is JF Caron's competition. You know it's going to be hard and heavy when it's something that JF is putting on. Some great athletes turning up for this one.
Well, they've got 3 classes for this competition. So there's North America's Strongest Man, North America's Strongest Man under 105, and North America's Strongest Woman.
Unfortunately, JF isn't the best at promoting things. So we haven't had too much information on this one. However, we know he does a great job of running the competition.
Yes, he does.
JF likes heavy events, so I'm going to imagine this will be a brutally heavy, hard competition.
And like you said, there's some really good names competing in these classes, including the likes of the current America's Strongest Man, Lucas Hatton. We've got Tristan Hoth, who did great at World's Strongest Man this year. And over in the women's class, we've got the likes of Gabby Dixon, Sam Bellevue, Inez Carrasquillo, and Jackie Ochevsky. So some great athletes. Should be some really good battles there.
I think it'll be a really good contest. Interesting that it's so close to the Shaw Classic, and a number of these names will be competing there as well. So that could be interesting. It's going to be a show I want to keep an eye on.
Yes.
I'm going to message JF, see if there is a live stream or something like that. If anyone knows, leave a comment below. We can always pin a post and make it easier for you guys to watch this one.
It's funny because there's this before the Shaw Classic, Giants Live not long after, so it is going to be interesting. And we know the Strongest Man on Earth is such a brutal competition, isn't it? So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the performances either side.
Absolutely. Right, guys, that's the news for this week. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, don't forget, if you're not already, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.